In this video, I'm going to talk to you about traveling light. This is a topic I have discussed so many times with my friends as they're preparing to go to Europe for a week or two or more. Because my philosophy is if you pack in a minimalist way, you can pretty much pack for a week trip or 2 weeks. Or if you're like us and you travel for months on end, or even a full-time traveler, it's pretty much the same approach. So I'm going to talk to you about the approach to packing light no matter how long your trip is. For those of you who haven't met me before, my name is Dara, and my husband Ian and I live in Texas for 7 months of the year, and then the rest of the time we live in England or we travel around Europe or other places in the world. And we are fanatics about packing light. When we leave for our 5 months of being gone, we leave the house with 1 rollerboard suitcase and 1 backpack per person. I'm not someone who has adopted the giant backpack and no suitcase approach. I have friends who are full-time travel vloggers who take that approach, but I really like having a suitcase with wheels that I can roll around and take some of the weight off my back. So I prefer to divide the load between the two. And my goal is to have no checked bags. That is a key feature of the packing light philosophy, no checked bags. So let's talk about why packing light is so great. Here are the key benefits. The first reason why it's great to pack light is because then you won't lose your suitcase on your flight, and when you arrive at your destination, not have your suitcase to take with you to your hotel. This is a big risk when you check a bag that it might not make it to your destination with you. Whereas if you just take your 2 carry-on items that you're allowed on the plane, you will know that they are going to arrive with you because you're not letting them go out of your sight. The second reason why it's great to not check your luggage but to bring your bags on the plane with you is that you're protecting your valuables. We all know that anything that goes in checked luggage might get broken or lost forever, so you don't want to send anything valuable through there. So eliminate the risk by just bringing your things on the plane with you. The third reason is it allows you to deplane more quickly and get out of the airport and on to your destination. If you check bags, especially if you're on some large international flight, you might be waiting quite a while once you get to the other side to wait for your bags to be collected off of that luggage carousel. In our recent video on traveling fast versus slow, which I hope you check out, I'll put a link in the description if you missed it, we really talked about the fact that you need to pack light in order to see all the things you want to see and not be encumbered by having to rent a car, having to lug around a ton of luggage. Lots of times it's so much more budget friendly to be able to take public transportation, not have to rent a car, and that's where packing light is going to be your friend. The biggest reason that you want to travel light is so that you can move around to all the destinations on your journey easily. And this is what we lecture our friends about so much when they come to visit us in the UK. Because when we leave our flat and we're running around the British countryside or taking trains or going to Europe or other places like that, we are going to be going to and from different locations, going through the London Tube or the Paris Metro or other public transport. When you're hopping on and off trains, planes, buses, you need to be able to handle your luggage easily. And having tried to lug big heavy suitcases up and down the many stairways of the London Underground, that is not fun. If you can't manage your own luggage and someone else is having to tote it for you, it slows you down so much, and it can be a real problem when you're trying to travel around to all the fun destinations in the world. So have a bag that you can carry up and down the stairs with you, that you can hoist into your overhead bin, that has all the things you need, but not all the stuff you don't need. So we'll talk about what those things are in a second. But the next really important reason why it's important to not bring too many bags or bags that are too big is that, especially for you Americans, European people do not have big cars that do not have big trunks or boots in them. So I learned this lesson the first time I went to England with Ian. We were newlyweds and we went over there actually for one of our wedding receptions, and we hired a car at the airport When we arrived in London, we go out to the car with our suitcases and they wouldn't fit in the boot of the little tiny compact car that we had rented. So we had to go back and get a different car. And when we've traveled with our friends in Britain, we've had to think through that in advance. And some of us have had to downgrade our luggage to be able to fit all of the luggage for 4 people in the back of our SUV. We can only do that if people have small suitcases. So hopefully I've persuaded you to have the desire to pack light. Now let's talk about how you do it. The first most important step is planning. And here in 2025, there are now new regulations on some of the airlines as to the size of suitcase you can take on the plane with you. So make sure that you check for your airline that you will be flying what the carry-on restrictions are for height, width, and depth of your suitcases. The suitcase that I've been traveling with, it says it was called magenta when I ordered it, but it's really kind of a watermelon color. Anyway, I do love this suitcase. It's the IT or IT brand, which I think is an English brand. I was jealous of Ian's suitcase that he's had for years. Same brand, his is navy blue. So when I decided that I didn't like my hard side suitcase that I was traveling with and wanted to get a soft side, I got one exactly like Ian's, just in this color. And I love the suitcase. It holds a lot, but it's light and it's easy to take on planes, trains, everything we need to do. But I think it's a little bigger than some of these small regional airlines allow these days. So let me do a quick review of what I've seen as an example to give you an idea of what the regulations are like these days. Carry-on suitcase size dimensions for major airlines like American Airlines, the carrier we use to fly to England, are that the bag must be no more than 22 inches tall, aka 56 centimeters, 14 inches wide, which is 36 centimeters, and 9 inches or 23 centimeters deep. In comparison, regional carriers like Ryanair or Norwegian Air have a height restriction for carry-on suitcases that go in the overhead bin of no more than 55 centimeters, although I've seen some regional airlines like EasyJet in the US that have a 45 centimeter restriction on bag height. So always check the airline website for whatever carrier you are using. For your personal item, it usually needs to be no more than 45 centimeters tall, 35 centimeters wide, and 20 centimeters deep, which in inches is 18 by 14 by 8. The backpack I'm about to show you just fits the size requirements for a personal item, so you can maximize your space usage. Now let's talk about your second bag, because you have a personal item that you take on the plane with you. This needs to fit into the area below the seat in front of you. And again, check the regulations for what the dimensions are of what can go on your plane. This backpack right here is a newer backpack that I have, and I love it because it's just the right size to fit underneath the seat in front of me, but it holds a lot of stuff. Unlike some other bags that are for computers, the kind of back part where the computer holds and the front part where you hold other stuff, it's more just designed for kind of students and business people who are carrying their laptop in a lot of folders and papers and books and things, whereas this is really a travel suitcase. So there is a nice little laptop sleeve in the back, but then this front part really holds all the things that you want to hold in a suitcase. And it's even packed in like a suitcase way. So you have this whole compartment that you can pack all of your clothes or shoes or things in, toiletries kit, zip it up, and it's kind of suitcase and backpack all in one. And I'll put the link in the description below that even comes with these nifty packing bags, which I'll talk more about packing bags in a second. And it has a water bottle pocket in the side, which I'll talk more about the water bottle in a second as well. And one of the most important things about the backpack that you choose for travel is making sure that it has one of these luggage seat belts, because you definitely want to make sure that you can put your backpack on top of your rollerboard suitcase. If you are a person like me that carries a little handbag or purse with you normally, definitely make sure that if you are used to hauling around a big purse or handbag normally, when you travel, you're going to want to downgrade that to a small, crossbody bag or sling bag if there's any way you can. It's just so much easier. So make it a small bag like this that you can just fit your phone in, your wallet in, and a couple essentials. Not a big Mary Poppins carpet bag that has everything under the sun. Then this little bag you're going to put inside your backpack when you get on the plane, because you're not allowed to have 3 bags, but it's easy to fit those small bags inside your larger backpack. So what's next in planning? You've chosen your suitcase, you've chosen your backpack. Now let's talk about what you're going to put in it. And the first thing you'll need to do when planning your clothing is knowing how long is your trip and when are you going to do laundry. My rule of thumb is I try and do laundry once a week, and that's why for me, packing for 1 week is kind of like packing for forever because you're just going to bring that amount of clothing that you're going to wear in a week, then you'll wash it at the end and have it available for the next week. So you bring your socks and undies that'll get you through a week, and then the clothing that you can rotate through that amount of time as well. You want to make that wardrobe really be like a capsule wardrobe where everything works together in a mix and match way. That's so much more efficient, and that minimalist approach to choosing what you're going to wear on the course of your trip is going to make it so much easier to pack light. So before we talk about what those clothing items are, the first decision you have to make is, do you want to be practical or fashionable? If you want to be fashionable and be wearing all the latest trendy items, then you're watching the wrong video because that's not me. I am practical to a fault. So my approach to packing and what I wear when I'm traveling is all about practicality. So I'm going to give you tips on how to have the easy, no fuss approach to packing and traveling when it comes to apparel. So here are my clothing principles. First of all, wrinkle resistant or wrinkle free. Nobody wants to be ironing clothes on their vacation or holiday. That's just way too much trouble. Secondly, you want everything to be washable. If you have that one day that you're going to go to the laundrette or use the washing machine at your Airbnb or whatever, you want everything to be machine washable so you're not fussing with having to hand wash special fussy things. And I know it's a cliche, but pack layers. I'm really giving you advice that works well for traveling in Britain, Europe, in the summer months. If you are going on a ski vacation, then it's a lot more difficult to pack light and have everything in just one little bag. But on your basic run around Europe trip, this will be great. Light layers are the way to go. T-shirts, a warm layer, and a waterproof layer. More on that in a minute. And lastly, everything in this capsule wardrobe should be comfortable and things that you like to wear. If you're sitting on a plane or a train or in a car on a road trip for a long time, you want to be comfortable. So bring comfortable clothes, light layers, colors that mix and match, and life will be so much easier. Now let's talk for a second about packing cubes. There are definitely pros and cons to using packing cubes. The one thing that I think is a con is that for most of my life, I have not used packing cubes, and I feel like if I just take all my clothing and roll it, I'm a big fan of rolling as opposed to folding, because then you can open a suitcase and you can see everything you have at once and find what you're looking for so much more easily. You also can fit more if you roll your items rather than fold. So being able to see everything at once was the reason I used to resist using packing cubes, but this last summer, when I traveled around for 5 months, I did use packing cubes and I really liked them. Now, there's 2 kinds of packing cubes. You can either get just a normal packing cube, which is like a little mini fabric suitcase that's got some depth to it and a mesh top that you zip close. This is great, but I like the compression ones even better. They still have the same ability to roll your clothes. I still roll your clothes, put them in here. I can fit all my shirts in one of these little things. You just roll your t-shirts, stack them all up in a nice row, zip the top, mesh panel, and then you zip the compression on the side, and it just takes a little bit of air and a little bit of extra space out so that you can put these packing cubes around. But really, it's not about space savings. That's not why you use the packing cubes. The reason you use them is for organization. It makes it so much easier to know where everything is. All the bottoms are in here, all the tops are in here, it's easy to get dressed. And when all the bottoms in here, in my case, they're all black, whether it's shorts, capris, leggings, yoga pants, sweats, joggers, hiking pants, whatever they are, they're all black and they're all in here. And then in here is a bunch of magenta t-shirts. It's really easy to get dressed. And maybe you won't all wear black pants and magenta t-shirts. You'll have your own version of a capsule wardrobe, but just make sure that things mix and match and work together. With those bottoms and those tops, then my advice is to have a warm layer that you wear, whether that's a fleece, a hoodie. For me, having traveled to Britain now for over 30 years, is to have like a warm zip-up hoodie, because when it's cold, that warm hoodie with a waterproof wind layer on top of that, I can go through pretty much any type of weather. Whether it's windy, rainy, it's got me covered, pardon the pun. So I highly recommend that approach to layers. And then I'll also bring some other type of little cardigan or jacket that's maybe a little bit dressier, so that if I'm going someplace that I don't want to be wearing a hoodie, I have something I feel comfortable with for that occasion. I don't put everything in packing cubes though. When it comes to socks and undies, my approach is to just stick them in the bottom of the suitcase. You know how in suitcases lots of times the metal bars are here, and so there's kind of some indentations here, some little valleys? That's where I stick the socks and undies. So if you stick all those in the little holes and the valleys, then you can put all of the packing cubes packed with your bigger clothing items on top of that. And the other advantage to using the packing cubes is that to unpack and pack again when you go to your Airbnb, your hotel, whatever, it's so much easier to just take out those packing cubes. You know where everything is. It's really easy to get dressed. It's really easy to do your laundry, put everything back where it goes, and pop it back in the suitcase. A few more hints about clothing. I really like to have versatile slacks. My favorite thing are hiking slacks that are just simple, not full of pockets and zippers like some hiking slacks or pants are, but just simple, sleek design. They are easy wash, easy dry, and very lightweight. And if you're wearing a dressy top with it, you can wear them even to a nice restaurant or kind of dressier occasions. Now, I do like to always make sure that I have a dress or skirt with me. So again, back to the capsule wardrobe and minimalism, I will have a black skirt, and then I can mix and match tops with that, long sleeve or short sleeve, so that I have something dressier to wear when I want to go somewhere a little bit nicer. And the same thing with Ian. He has black they're technically hiking slacks, but they look just like dress slacks. They're just made out of a hiking pants material so that they're a little bit more quick dry and slightly water resistant. And it looks great when he wears a dressy shirt with it. So now let's talk about shoes. Shoes are a big deal because when it comes to packing light, if you are a fashion fiend that has to bring 6 pairs of shoes, that's going to crater your 1 bag or 2 bag travel plans. So really minimize the shoes that you bring. I always bring my sneakers that I wear all the time that are great for my feet. That's what I wear when I'm traveling on the plane. And then I will bring a dressy pair of shoes. If it's cooler weather, that'll be ankle height boots. And if it's warmer weather, it'll be flats or sandals. So depending on time of year and the climate, you can choose what kind of dressier shoes you have. But if there's any way you can get by with just sneakers/trainers and 1 pair of nicer shoes, that's the optimal plan. Now, if you're hiking a lot and you have to have hiking boots, then you're gonna need to wear those hiking boots on the plane with you so that you can put your smaller pair of sneakers or trainers in your bag along with your dressier pair of shoes. Now, when it comes to choosing shirts that are versatile, that you can dress up, dress down, I do have a recommendation of a clothing brand that we learned about this year, and it's called Western Rise. I did a video a few days back that was sponsored by Western Rise, where my son Weston modeled a couple Western Rise shirts that are perfect for travel. If you haven't seen that video, I will put a link in the description, so check that out. Not only because the shirts are really cool and perfect for traveling, but also because Weston is hilarious. He's my favorite guest star and co-star to film things with, so check out that video if you haven't seen it yet. I will put a packing list in the descriptions. Check that out to see our approach to how we pack a suitcase when we're traveling. And just to round things out, beyond the clothing that I've already talked about, is accessories. When it comes to jewelry, scarves, belts, things like that, really minimize, because the more you can minimize that, the more you're gonna save on space and weight, because a lot of jewelry, belts, shoes, things like that, they're just the heaviest part of packing. I like to go really minimal. I have a couple pairs of small earrings and maybe one small necklace that I bring. That's my approach, and then it's really easy to pack that. Now let's talk about toiletries kits. This is my cute toiletries kit. It has a hedgehog, a magenta hedgehog on it, and it says Dara. Isn't that adorable? But one thing that I want to share, one of my favorite items that has helped me pack light, is this makeup remover cloth. This is what I use to wash my face, and it comes in magenta. I'll link that in the description. You can buy these in a lot of places, including Amazon, and you don't have to use face soap or cleanser. It just removes makeup great. It saves from having to bring plastic bottles of face cleansers and things, because you really want to minimize how many different types of liquids. Now's the time to simplify your beauty routine, is when you're getting ready to travel. And I try to bring as few items as possible, not only because I could easily fit everything in my quart size zip top bag, but also it just makes it so much easier to get ready in the morning. Now let's talk about hair care. This is a place you can really save a ton of space and even more weight by not bringing a hairdryer, not bringing a curling iron, not bringing a flat iron. It's so much easier to just use the hairdryer wherever you are. I really can't think of a hotel or a B&B or an Airbnb that I've stayed at in the last 2 decades that didn't have a hairdryer. And they're heavy to lug around in your suitcase. And if you're American and you're going to Europe, you're gonna end up worrying about adapters and converters and all that nonsense. So simplify your beauty routine, use the hairdryer where you're at, and save a ton of space and weight. Now let's talk about electronics. If you are a normal person going on vacation or holiday, I would say don't bring your computer. It is just a lot easier to unplug literally and go on vacation without it. Use your phone for whatever you need to stay in touch, look stuff up, navigate, all that good stuff. However, if you are a YouTube creator like me, you're going to have to bring your laptop. So I'm a big fan of bringing a thin, lightweight laptop. I am a PC user, not an Apple user, so my alternative to the MacBook Air, which is what I'd use if I were an Apple user, I use a Dell XPS. Same thing, thin, lightweight, and I get just a 13-inch laptop that's really just the size of a little notebook. It's so easy to carry this around in a backpack because it's so thin and lightweight. And when I'm doing heavy editing, whether it's here in Texas or in my home in Cheltenham, I just plug this into a second large monitor, and that allows me to just travel a lot more light. Don't forget a laundry bag. A lot of the packing bag sets will come with cloth laundry bags. That's awesome. If you don't have that, just grab a plastic trash bag or a plastic laundry bag from a hotel. I take those and I reuse those laundry bags for like a decade. So you definitely want that lightweight thing that you can tuck in a corner or a pocket of your suitcase, so that as you accumulate dirty clothes on your trip, they can be kept separate from your clean clothes and you're ready to take it to the laundrette. So just to round out the mention of some of my favorite items that I've linked to in the description, in addition to the suitcase and the backpack, I'm a huge fan of bringing a water bottle with you. I do not like single-use plastic water bottles and try to avoid them when at all possible. So it's important to bring a water bottle with you. I love having the option of an insulated water bottle like this. This is a Stanley, and Stanley cups often are huge and have straws and are heavy, and they're just not conducive for traveling light. But this is a really well-designed, lightweight Stanley Aerolite commuter cup. So I'll include a link in the description, but it has It doesn't have a straw, which I don't really like straws. So I love that you can just drink out of this. Has a really cool engineering feature where it seals really tightly, so it's leak proof. And it's lightweight, small, easy to fit into car cup holders, side pockets of backpacks, and overall it's just so much lighter than the other type of insulated mugs. And it's great when you're traveling in the summer to be able to keep your cold water cold on a hot sunny day. I have one other bag, and I know I'm a fanatic about traveling light, so this was actually one of the hardest things to convince myself to bring, but it's just been a necessity and an absolute lifesaver, and that is another backpack. I first learned about this concept from Rick Steves, where he would bring a large kind of luggage backpack that he's carrying all his things in. The fact is, when you are in a destination and you are hiking up a mountain or going around a city, exploring all day, you can't be lugging your big, bulky luggage backpack that your laptop and all your clothes are in. You need a smaller backpack. So this is incredibly light, compact day pack. This one that I love is from Eddie Bauer. And as you see, it packs into itself. And then it pops out. The pocket that it was packed in folds in, and then it becomes a little pocket. And voila! This is your day pack. Perfect for carrying your water bottle, carrying your jacket in case it rains or gets chilly or windy, carrying a snack, carrying your shopping, and having a backpack to put on your back if you're cycling around. So this, highly encourage, have a small, very lightweight, packable day pack that you can use and cram that inside your suitcase or your large backpack. So in summary, that is our approach, our philosophy, the principles we use, the items that we use in packing light, and what our approach to a packing list is. Hopefully you found this helpful. I'll put all the information in the description. Please let me know what questions you have. Happy travels, and do something good in the world today.